This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time. He's got him. Side touch is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Ken and Ken in the Morning. Hey, this is our first official full day of the new NFL season. And contracts are hitting the line. A lot of contracts became official yesterday. So now when you look at your team's roster, you can feel happy about what you did or sad or feel like the Bucs and say, well, my season's over because we just signed Vildor. Bears fans and Lions fans will rejoice at that. He's no longer in the NFC North because screw our team's over. God, Vildor, just like that was a name you didn't say in Chicago, Ken. Jonathan Vildor, yeah. And then he went to the Lions, like, oh yeah, he's gonna be awesome. Yeah, they're happy he's gone. Jack Sanborn is now a Dallas Cowboy, which is interesting. Blues, picking up, doing what I guess guys do when they leave, picking up some players from his last team. Kilnor Vildor, they didn't say how much the Bucs paid him, but he suckered another team. Today is also the 1-year anniversary of the Falcons acquiring Kirk Cousins. They can rejoice. Some free agents that are still out there: Cam Robinson, Rasul Douglas, Stephon Diggs, Mekhi Becton, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen. The New Orleans Saints, they are reworking deals like madmen. We'll get into their over the cap in a minute. Adam Thielen, 12th season going back to the Panthers, signed a revised contract for this next year. You gotta like him, man. Like, that's a good story. His NFL story is a good one. So there've been some moves. Some things going on there, Ken.
Mm-hmm. Good morning there, Yoli. Yeah, we're starting to get to the drip feed kind of section of free agency where you're going to get a little bit of sprinkles of moves here and there. And let me tell you, being in New York, the only moves I keep on hearing is Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. I am so freaking tired already of hearing both of those fucking names.
Did Rodgers officially get released yesterday? Cooper Kupp did. But I didn't see a release on him yet.
Yeah, I didn't see the official release on it yet. Because I know he's going to be designated a June 1st.
Yeah, I saw that meeting with Brown. Because right now it's like, you really want to be Plan B.
They did officially release him.
They did officially, and then Kupp's out there too, so that makes it interesting. Now, I didn't add him to the free agent list, but he's now a free agent wide receiver. And who's going to pay? I mean, here's the thing: like with Cooper Kupp, I wonder how much he's going to cost someone.
You can't assume he's going to be too expensive because he does have an injury history. His production is starting to go down. Granted, he can help somebody, but I don't think he's going to end up completely turning it around, like turn some teams' hopes around.
Yoli's shifted around from platform to platform. Next on my X account. Here's the thing, though. It's interesting. Okay, so the Bears. I'm just gonna Philip, I tell you, man, too early in the morning, dude. All right.
I think
So-
it's the perfect time in the morning.
So the Bears right now, according over to cap, have $22.2 million. We'll call it $22.3 million in cap, right? And I look at the contracts they've got listed. Hey, there's Thuney, there's Dahlman, there's Jonah Jackson, there's Deo. Okay, but wait a minute, someone's missing. Oh, the Grady Jarrett contract isn't there yet, which is interesting because it was official yesterday, right? You assume he signed. His contract is not on there yet. So I don't know if the Bears really do have $22 million. But so Bears fans might look at the cap and go, "Oh, okay, well, I see. Okay, they'll do a quick. Okay, there's Tooney, there's some. Okay, yeah, they got it, but they don't, right? Because Jarrett's contract's not there, and like I would take Kupp as a slot in Chicago, right? I mean, why not? Right? I've got Rome. I've got
Your microphone's doing the same thing.
to spend. AJ, yeah, I saw that too. AJ Dillon went to Philly.
Hey, I'm not against it. He wasn't working out in Green Bay towards the end of it. He seemed to have lost a step here. Maybe going over to Philadelphia and being the backup to Saquon, he can kind of regain some of his former self. But hey, I'm happy for the guy.
That's a good move. He's not going to get much of a workload. He's going to get a decent paycheck to have not much of a workload to play for a good team. I mean, gets to an actual city, not Green Bay. Dude, let's be honest. I mean, Green Bay, Green Bay, Philly. Cheese curds, cheesesteak. So wait a minute, cheese curds are kind of good.
I was gonna say,
I mean,
the only real football players want to go to Green Bay because that's the only thing there is to do there. The other guys just want to go out and screw around.
I mean, it's a good move for him. There's still going to be some interesting signings probably coming through this weekend. Because teams are wanting to wrap the stuff up before they get draft centric. Well, thank you, Philip. You do quite a bit. Yeah, Juszczyk is still out there too.
I honestly don't know if there's going to be much of a market for Juszczyk there because you don't see many teams using the fullbacks anymore. And San Francisco was one of the few. And if San Francisco, with how much they value a fullback, is moving on from him, don't look too good. I think we have a frozen Ken. We definitely got ourselves a frozen Ken. Well, at this time, with a frozen Ken, we want to tell everybody from Ken and Ken in the morning, the Bears still suck, and they always will. But not too much there, Jason. How are you doing today? Oh, yeah. Ken's freaking locked right up like the Bears have been for the past decade. Oh, but yeah, we're finally starting to get a little bit of, I guess, chatter about Russell Wilson because he's taken visits with the Giants, Cleveland, and I'm pretty sure the Seahawks. And we have a Joe. Perfect timing. Ken Frozen got knocked out.
Is there a storm going on over there or what?
Wait, we might have a Ken back. Oh, we do have a Ken back.
So I just lost power at my house.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was like, that was weird. So I'm on the cell phone right now. Let me it's a beautiful day here. I don't know why. Good thing I at least got my coffee made. Yeah, power just went out.
Mm-hmm. Well, while you froze, I had brought up about Russell Wilson going out and visiting these couple of teams here.
Yeah, I mean, that's to be expected. I'm gonna go to the garage here, guys. So I gotta
Yep.
check the breaker. Oh wait, there's no light in the garage. Wonderful me.
Man, I think the Chicago groundskeeping crew was running the power for you, Ken. Oh. But yeah, this Russell Wilson sweepstakes, I guess if that's what you want to call it, is, pretty interesting territory because this won't be the first time that Russell Wilson has to take Aaron Rodgers sloppy seconds, because we all know Denver really wanted Rodgers, and that was the start of Russell Wilson exploding.
Yeah, two things. Number one, I don't think you should call it a sweepstakes because at the end of a sweepstakes, there's a prize. And two, you're right. This is the second time now that he has to beg a team to take him.
Yeah, it's just that's the whole scenario is just kind of.
If I was Russ, I would just retire with some of my pride still intact.
He's got no pride. Sierra's got all that.
Damn.
Future Junior took his pride away.
Future Junior.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Hey, I mean, Sierra is fine though, dude.
I'm not here arguing that point.
Do you think Russ Russ ever has her do solo performance of goodies for him? He's got a stripper pole in the bedroom. He's like, Sierra, do goodies.
Yeah, she does it for him, but after that, she tells him he has to sing a Future song.
Damn.
Just wrong. Huh, interesting. We have power again. Now I just gotta wait for the internet to come back. Living in Florida, I tell you. Yeah, I don't know. The air. I mean, think about that. You're fighting over Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and about 2014 or so, that would have been great quarterbacks to have to choose from. And 2025, not so much. Rodgers still is putting up decent.
I was going to say, if this was 8 years ago, that would make perfect sense. You'd have to fight over those two. And now.
Yeah, Rodgers still putting up decent numbers for a quarterback, but nothing compared to what he used to. And Russell Wilson shows glimpses of being a quarterback for a tiny bit and then goes back to being the Russ we all know and despise.
See, I think Rodgers actually could have done better last season, but I think he held back by coaching and he doesn't have the level of talent around him that he did in Green Bay. He didn't with the Jets. I mean, he had some talented offensive players, but not. I mean, if you look at what was the problem with that team, right? They had a great defense. They had Devontae Adams. They had Breece Hall. So why didn't they win?
Their offensive line was porous.
So I'm just, and I was that was more of it wasn't a rhetorical question. I was actually, I'm actually asking what's to get your opinions on it. Why didn't they win? They had the pieces to win. Why didn't they win?
Coaching. Look at the Jets were another good example of why coaching matters. Because like the Bears, they had all these guys. You're like the Jets, they had all these guys, and they had talented guys. It wasn't like they just had, they called up John Dorn and they called up Jason and they called up Bear Down Mike and Phillip and me and you and Ken said, "Hey guys, come and play football professionally. Get off your couches and your regular day jobs." And we all said, Sure, why not? It's not like they had that talent on their team.
Getting the band back together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
They had legit players, and the problem was they had shit coaching. I'm still
I
here.
agree.
I'm technologically challenged today.
Look at Ken's background.
Yeah, it's just, there we go. He's technically
Dude,
challenged.
somebody's trolling you, Ken.
No.
It's pretty much for everybody on here.
I was gonna say, I'll bet it's Bill the Packer fan.
No. It's a local. That was a local issue, and now I won't bring it back. Yes, relax.
Because I saw your guys' banter on Facebook, so I'll bet it's Bill the Packer fan.
No, we won't talk about that. He got mad. He got butthurt over that. Don't make it that easy, man. But no, I mean, they had talent. Like, they had legit talent on that team, and it was that they didn't have good coaching to go with that talent. Now, so that was their problem. It was a lot of it was coaching.
Because if you look back, like, remember when Rex Ryan was the coach? Like, they had a talented defense, but that offense, it was Mark Sanchez and, like, Wayne Krebet? I don't even know if it was Wayne Krebet. Like, who was on that team in the 2000? You can't even name me their offensive starters on that team, right? And they went to the AFC Championship like 2 years in a row, right? Because coaching.
And though, Joe, it's like coaches. Okay, hiring coaches is like drafting players in the first round. It's a 50 at best proposal. How many of these coaches make it past 3 years? I guess you could say for coaches, like, it's the fourth year option, right? Is it like the first round draft pick? If you know you drafted okay, if you make the guy a fifth year option, right? But how many of these guys get to their fifth year option and actually sign it or sign an extension? Not even half. Coaches, it's like the third year option. You can get to year 4, you're probably a good coach. How many teams are getting coaches to year 4 though?
Not many.
Because every year there's 5 to 7 coaches that need a job in a 32-team league. Think about it. So, now Bears fans, we just hired Ben Johnson. Is he going to make it to year 4? But then I'd say this though as well. I think we give up on coaches too fast. Because look at some of the best coaches ever, and you look at their starts in their careers, in their first 2 or 3 seasons, they were just trash. But then they end up going on to Hall of Fame careers with the same team. Teams stuck with their coaches and their vision a little bit longer than we do today. Some coaches don't even get a freaking year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think coaches should get, at minimum, they should get 3 years.
Minimum.
To really, like, put in your system and really, like, because the first year you're putting in your system, so you're going to have your growing pains. The second year you expect improvement in your system. The third year they should be able to execute your system without hitch, right?
And that's it. Like, and that's bringing the coach like Ben Johnson. That's the Ben Johnson scenario, right? Okay, Ben, we've hired you. We've already put our team together. We have the pieces. We think we're going to be a playoff contending team. You have 3 years to do something with it. The inverse of that is what when you brought Flus in. All right, Flus, we're completely destroying the team. So this year you're going to suck. The next year you're probably still going to be pretty bad. By year 3, we want to start to see your system start to take shape. By year 4, we want to see a winning record. By year 5, you need to be in the playoffs. Like, that should be the other situation. There should be 2 different situations about when you hire the coach. Have you already rebuilt your roster, and now you're hiring a coach? Or I'm going to hire a coach, and I need to rebuild my roster?
Yeah, because if you hire a coach and he needs to rebuild your roster, he should get a minimum of 5 seasons.
Right.
Like, it's going to take 2 to rebuild it minimum, and that's if he does everything right. You can't rebuild a team in 1 season.
And let's be honest, some coaches just become victims of bad GM.
Yeah.
Coach, bad GM. GM wants to save their job. Oh, it was the coach, and they fire them. I'm not saying that's the case in Chicago with the last scenario we just had, but because Poles didn't necessarily really hire him. Sure, he hired him in terms of here are 3 guys, choose one and give him a contract. But he didn't get to go through the whole process and have his guy as head coach. He got handed 3 guys to choose from, and it's like saying, "Well, you gave me crap, and crap, so I guess I'll take crap." Not that Flus was terrible, because Flus obviously he did some good things with that team. He just lost the locker room, maybe overconfidence, maybe just I don't know what his deal was. It lost the locker room more from what he said in press conferences than anything else. That was his biggest flaw. His defense worked overall. There was improvements in the team. The team did follow him coming into the season, but then after a couple key moments, just the words he said, at press conferences after games is really what cost him. But sometimes, though, you do get coaches who are victims of bad GMs, and then you get coaches who are good coaches, and to be honest with you, they're good coaches, but they're learning on the job, and they're going to make mistakes, and sometimes they make a mistake that's just insurmountable. And
So
isn't
I got a question for you. Like, I don't put it all on Eberflus. I actually, to be honest, I think part of it is Caleb. Like, I think that the Bears team, the players expected more. Like, I'm sure that they knew that going in with a rookie, you're going to have some rookie mistakes, but Caleb had a rough start to the year. And I'm just throwing it out there. Is it possible that maybe the players kind of more quit on Caleb than quit on Eberflus in the beginning? Like, I don't want to quit on him, but just kind of were like, come on, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Because you saw even DJ Moore. Like, I remember DJ Moore coming off the field all pissed off, right?
It wasn't Flus, though. I think there's a couple things that went with that. One is he hired a bad offensive coordinator. 2, look at the players aren't immune to the hype machine that the fans and the media produce. And I think
that's what I'm saying. Like,
and even
do you think that they bought into it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The players bought in, like, wow, we're going to be really good. And then when that offensive line couldn't hold the line because of the scheme, right, which goes back to your coordinator, I think that happened. And then Mike goes, well, Flus never took accountability. Well, look, we don't know what he did behind closed doors as far as when the locker room say, hey, guys, I messed that play up. What he says in the media, what he says to the players, different things. But the problem is when he has those different things, they get back to the players, right? Because he's not I hate that argument because there's so many head coaches that never take accountability for anything, and we still think they're great head coaches. Because when you're out there doing the press conference, you just kind of you want to keep the upbeat, positive mentality for your team. I think that's what Flus tried to do. And then you side-skirt it. But I think what happened mostly was the biggest part for Flus last year is he hired a bad offensive coordinator. Like, Shane Waldron was not the guy. His offensive line and then you had injuries on the O-line to start the year. So they thought they had what they wanted. It starts off hurt. Right tackle became a disaster. The center position was better. The left tackle, everything else was better for the most part except for right guard. But that kind of let the dominoes fall, right? So I think there was two pieces of that. One was he had a bad OC, or 3 pieces. One was a bad OC. 2, I think even the players believed the hype that they were going to be really, 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 really awesome offensively. And 3, they had way too much. They didn't have enough depth. They had too many injuries on that line. Because when they made the change, and also we had an interim OC, all of a sudden the line was better. All of a sudden the passing game was better. All of a sudden the Bears were better in game. So I think that was part of it. I think Flus's defense was great. It was just offensively they had the wrong guy there. And that's why when we were looking for a head coach this year, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to go offensive, fine. But remember I said I don't care what coach we hire as long as their coordinator is good. So if you get a defensive coach, I want a good OC. If you get an offensive coach, I want a good DC. And by all accounts, Dennis Allen's a good DC. So the Bears, I think, got it right this time by having an offensive-minded coach with a very good DC to pair with him. If they had gotten Ben Johnson and just gotten, bear down Mike as a DC, I'm sorry, Mike, I love you, but you're not a good DC probably. So I think that we'd be in the same boat. And I think you get some head coaches who get that problem too, because look at what's going to happen in Detroit. They've got a head coach that they love up there who's now going to be tested because he's got a new OC, a new DC, and one of them is just a promotion. So the scheme will be the same, but the play calling will be different. So, how quickly will they turn on their head coach up there in Detroit if they have back-to-back bad seasons, if they fail to meet expectations? And I think that happens a lot in this league too. Like, people forget it's not just the head coach, man. It's like the quarterback. It's not just the quarterback; it's the team around the quarterback. It's the same thing with head coaches.
Yeah, but I wanted to respond to this, to bear down Mike. I don't disagree with you. Like, Caleb was sacked so much that he didn't trust the O-line. But what I'm saying is that sort of thing snowballs, because like we can sit here and we can talk at the end of the season. When you look at Caleb's season overall, he had an okay season for a rookie. Like, I'm not shitting on the guy. I think there's talent there, but the start to the season was rough. I mean, he had receivers coming off the field pissed off because he's missing wide open throws, and like he's a rookie, and I think that maybe some of the players or a lot of the players are like, come on, Rook, get it together. You know what I mean? Like we're playing great defense, and we can't carry the team like this. Like, we need you to step up. And then eventually, once they fired Waldron, the offense did get better. Like, it still wasn't good, but it was better.
Yeah, it was better because I think you're right, Joe, because Caleb even alluded to it. He didn't come out and say it. He alluded to having more confidence in the play calling and the offensive coaching. But by proxy, I think Flus started to lose the team because offensively, Waldron was such a shitty coach for them last year. I'm not saying Waldron's a bad coach. He may work out somewhere else, right? But for the Bears, at least, he was pretty shitty. And I think that bled over to Flus, and then he lost the locker room because of that. And so I agree with your train of thought, Joe, because they started out so rough offensively with the way Waldron was calling the game. And look, at Flus probably should have, could have, would have gone to him and say, dude, you need to get more aggressive. You need to let Caleb be more free. He should have, as head coach, though, not to absolve him of everything and just say it was because he had a bad OC. As a head coach, he should have said something to that OC to maybe kickstart him, get him going. And that's part of the learning curve, though, being a first-time head coach. And that's where I hope Ben Johnson, as a first-time head coach in Chicago, if his defense isn't doing it, he can go to Allen and say, look, dude, you need to change something up. You need to do, light a fire under these guys' ass somehow and get them going. And that's what a good head coach would do. And Flus did not learn that. So Flus learned two big lessons as head coach in Chicago. One, you can say the media, right? And two, you got to be more assertive with your other coaches and actually will them into performance, or you will lose your team.
Broski, you're saying exactly what I'm saying. He had a rough start to the season. When they fired the OC, you started to see the offense get better, and by the end of the season, when you look at the whole season as a whole, you can say Caleb had a decent season for a rookie. It wasn't no Jaden Daniels type of season, right? Like, but my point to bear down Mike is that you can't have it both ways. Like last year, the Washington Commanders won 12 games, and what was the biggest reason for that? Every one of us is going to say Jaden Daniels playing like the way he played was one of the. To me, that's the biggest reason. Like, you can't.
Coaching. He got put his coaching, his offensive line talent, the Bears' offensive line talent, damn near identical, but they got so much more out of their O-line. Why? They had better coaching, better scheme. I mean, and look, I get you're not trying to shit on Caleb, and Caleb handled the situation as best he could, but a lot of it comes to coaching. They had the talent. They had more talent in Chicago than Washington had. Washington got more out of their talent, though, because they had better coaching offensively.
I don't disagree with that, but what I'm saying is when a guy comes in like C.J. Stroud in his rookie year and takes his team to the playoffs, we tend to give the quarterback most of the credit, right? Everybody talks about how good C.J. Stroud was. Everybody talks about how good Jaden Daniels was. Well, we can't have it. We can't say when they're really good, it's the quarterback, but when we're really bad, it's everything else, right? Caleb has to shoulder some of that, is what I'm saying. Just like Jordan Love, the season before last, Jordan Love had a rough season too, the first half, right?
Yeah, but Joe, I've been consistent in saying that. I've been saying it for months now. I've been very
Yeah, I'm not
consistent.
talking to you. I'm talking to Bear Down Mike because
Well, I think Mike's
it seems like he doesn't want Caleb to have to shoulder any of it. It seems like, and nothing
Well,
personal against Mike. I like Mike. I'm just wondering if that's if he thinks that Caleb doesn't have any part to play in it is all I'm
no, I
saying.
mean he does, but I mean not the extent is mitigated because of the coaching though. Is I think is what he's saying is like, look at Caleb like you said, had a really good season, all things considered, with what he was given. Could it have been better? Yeah. And then people go, well, we should have drafted Daniels. Well, we should have had Kingsbury as our OC then. You know, I mean that's the argument that really where you get that. And where fans go, you're right. When it's great, oh, the quarterback, the guy we drafted was awesome. When it's bad, though, it's all on the player. But in both cases, coaching has a big deal to play with, a huge deal to play with.
Yeah, coaching has to do with it, but Caleb does have issues of holding on to the ball. Everybody sees it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but Isaac, though, that's
I know.
a aspect of the coaching, though. That some of that
I don't know if that's coaching because if you look at some of the plays that there's wide open wide receivers, and I know the plays were drawn to get them open. Caleb just gets a little gun shy sometimes, and then this is not only this.
Isaac,
Look. Hold on. Let me finish first. Hold on. Let me finish. Look, this not only is happening in the NFL level, this happened in the collegiate level. I'm a USC fan. I watched Caleb play for my team as a starter. He's had the same issue. He had the same issue against Utah. There was players open. He holds the ball. He looks for the bigger play. And that was Aaron Rodgers' issue too. He used to hold the ball, look for the bigger play.
But here's the hole with the logic, right? When we started to see that is after the breaking down of a couple games, right? And you saw that flaw, which I'm not saying it isn't a flaw he doesn't have. That's not that I'm not disagreeing with that. But the flaw becomes accentuated because of the bad coaching. Now he's gun shy. Now he's all these other cascading effects, the second, third, fourth orders of effect that came into play when the coaching's so bad and the old line was put in such bad positions where he's getting hit so much. Now he starts doing the bad practices. It's a byproduct of the other thing. It's not to say that what you're saying isn't correct, because yes, he had those flaws. The problem is coaching made that flaw even bigger.
All right, I see what he's saying, Isaac. I think what Ken is saying is that good coaching can cover up those flaws, and that bad coaching accentuates those flaws. Like, just like I'll give you an example. Like, remember Darnold before last year, right? Like the joke was that he sees ghosts, right? And it's because he's never had an offensive line protect him like he did last year, right? And he's never had good coaching, really, except for when he went to Shanahan, and then after he left Shanahan is when he went to the Vikings and had that one good year, right? Mm-hmm. But like the second you start to really get after Darnold, we saw it against the Rams. The old Darnold, those old flaws start to come out again, right? And they get accentuated. Yeah. So it's kind of the same with Caleb. Like you and I, we both watched Caleb in college. We know that he holds the ball too long and he can try to play hero, but a good system and good coaching can to alleviate that to some degree, right? Mm-hmm. But when you have a bad offensive line, now Caleb really feels like he has to do it all on his own, and so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sense, you know.
And the thing is, he did have good coaching in USC, like like Lincoln Riley is one of the really good college coaches. He just had a bad roster this past season, and he had Cliff Kingsbury as his OC. You know.
Trust, though, in even your teammates to a degree, because of what Joe's saying, it all cascades. It's not a black and white thing. Like, okay, thing A happens, now you have the second, third, fourth, fifth orders of effect that happen in the breakdown, right? And then you look at the transition. They fire Waldron. The new OC goes, hey, sometimes just be Superman. Let it air out. Make the throw. Do that. Whereas Waldron's like, be conservative. Don't do this. So that led to maybe him sometimes not throwing the ball because, coach says I shouldn't make that throw, right? Whereas then you fire him, and now he's like, no, go make that throw. And now he starts to make those throws. We see some of those throws we saw on the back end that we never saw on the front end. Coaching has a big, huge deal with it. So what's going to be interesting to see with him in year 2 is how much better is the coaching that's going to help Caleb perform better? And then you go to Jaden Daniels and say, okay, he had great coaching last year, great scheme. They've improved that team some this year. Now, is the coaching going to be able to elevate him, or is he going to have a drop, or is he going to at least maintain? It's like CJ Stroud still had good coaching. He kind of had a little bit of a drop, not a huge drop, but a little bit of a drop, right? And that was to be expected, but the coaching level there is good. Now, if he would have dropped off completely, you'd be like, okay, wait, this can't all be the players. Some of it's the coaching. Maybe they didn't make adjustments to the scheme. Look at Matt Nagy in Chicago. Didn't make adjustments to the scheme. The team was played a lot worse than it probably should have in year 2 and 3 because of that. So coaching has this impact that we as fans or people who watch this game, or I would say us, because we're a little different the way we watch the game because we do this, but like the casual guy who turns on every Sunday to watch his team play doesn't go, well, why is my coaching, like if I got, they're not thinking that. They're just thinking, oh, the players suck, get rid of them. But when you dig deeper, you find a lot of times that there's coaching issues. Like this coach, the techniques they're teaching, and sometimes we get lucky and the commentators actually point it out during the game. Most fans just like, yeah, whatever. But it's true. Oh, hey, they got to work on his foot. They got to work on his throwing motion. And when they do, then we see the positive change, and we catch it because we pay attention to it. But your average guy who just watches his favorite team on Sunday doesn't even notice it.
I just want to see, Caleb trust that coaching. You know what I mean? There's a time where he does play hero ball, and he's done it in the collegiate level, with good coaching.
I would say
that's what he needs to learn from. As a rookie, you're not expected to learn all these things right away. You know what I mean? It takes some time to develop. That's why you see a lot of QBs end up being, kind of a shot in the barrel type of QBs and then become really good as they progress and play in this NFL level.
I think as far as the trust, I think we'll figure that out by game 2 or 3 of the regular season, right? Because I mean, there's going to be a little bit of initial trust he's just going to give the new coaches because they're the new coach. Then there'll be a certain amount of trust they'll gain because of OTAs and then camp. And we know they don't play in the preseason, so nothing there. But if things are going offensively relatively well, whereas he's not taking 7 sacks a game, then I think, he starts to really trust his coach, put trust in the coaching. It's a difference from year 1 to year 2. Year 1, you just trust your coaches because they're NFL coaches and you're new. Well, now you're a veteran. So now you kind of think of it and you have an idea of how it should be. So I think the amount of trust he'll give his coaches off the bat won't be as much as what he did last year off the bat. They're going to have to earn it this time versus just be given it.
Right.
And I think we'll see that by the 2nd, 3rd week of the NFL season, to be honest with you. That's when you can start to judge maybe a little bit or get a sense of how much trust he has in the new coaches.
I think
you're
going to have to see. I think Caleb is going to have to earn the trust of his defense, and I think the offensive line is going to have to earn the trust of Caleb. Like there's a lot that goes into it. Trust. I actually equate trust and confidence. Like, confidence is like a snowball with an NFL team. Like once that, it's like once you have that lack of confidence in one area, it snowballs into other areas, and before you know it, the whole team is playing like shit. But it goes the opposite way too. It's like if the offensive line shows improvement, Caleb is going to show trust in them. The offense is going to play better. The defense is going to trust Caleb and the offense to take care of their side of the ball. And you can see good things happen. Like, I think that confidence was an issue last year for the Bears.
Yeah, I agree, Joe, but I don't think it was. The only thing where I disagree with you there is that I don't think wasn't that the defense trusted Caleb. Or didn't trust Caleb. I think the defense didn't trust the offensive coaching. I don't think they blamed Caleb as an individual and didn't have trust in him, but they felt the same pain that he did with the coaching going, dude, why would you call that play? Dude, why would you do that? And like they saw Caleb, because look at where Broski puts up, look, he threw for 1,000 more yards his rookie season than Justin Fields ever threw, right? His TD to intercept. He didn't turn the ball over. I mean, just to that on the team turnover to touchdown ratio, right there, he had the trust of the defense. The defense knew the problem probably wasn't him. He took care of the ball first and foremost. So that gets you the most trust you could ever get with your defense is don't turn the ball over, and he didn't. So I think
Sorry, I'm not trying to play the compare to Justin Fields because I don't think Justin Fields is a good starting quarterback. You know what I mean? I think Caleb is much better than him. You know what I mean? And talent wise, being the quarterback he is, Caleb is just much better. You could see it in college. You could see all the tapes.
I mean, Foles made the right choice there, even though I was pro Pete Fields.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? He ended up my GM made the right choice, but three. Okay, but no, it's completely different, Orlando, because a turnover, you now give the ball on your 30-yard line versus punting it away and putting more yards between them and a touchdown. So it's not even close. But he did turn the ball over, so that got him trust in his defense. Caleb didn't give up. He kept playing hard, and so I think he had to trust the defense. I think once again you come back to that team coaching. Coaching matters, and you look at teams that were successful last year. How many of them had coaching issues? Well, like they didn't have, they didn't really have trust in their coach or stuff. It does happen once in a blue moon. They win despite the coaching, but usually at least the scheme is good, and maybe just the coach is an asshole, right? But I mean, usually though, it's like the scheme is bad. The coach doesn't put players in good position to win. Like, look at LaFleur. It's not that LaFleur is a great coach. He just puts them in good positions to win. He knows how to put his players, what the talent that he has on his roster, in a position to do well.
But isn't that one of the requirements to be a good coach, though?
Thank you.
Yes and no.
To say LaFleur is not necessarily a good coach, I disagree with that. He's a good coach.
Look, he's not. I mean, he might be a bad example to say that with, but I'm sure. But what I could see, he puts them in a position. He maximizes. He knows his talent of the team, and he knows how to give them more times than not a play that will give them a good chance of success.
Hey, what did Dorn say? People are praising his comment. I got to see it.
Oh, because he said that Caleb doesn't give up. That's what people are reacting to.
Yeah, I mean, said that he doesn't give up in the game.
Someone said it earlier in the comments. I think it was Orlando. The defense was gassed. They were on the field so much. I get it. And at a certain point, the morale starts to dip. The will to go out there kind of. I get that. It happens. There one again. I know what my problem with Ken. Okay. I mean, some of that happens. It's just going to happen from time to time. And yeah, I'm going to.
I love that logo right there.
Yeah. Don't worry. I got this coming in the mail today. It should be here any minute. There we go. I mean, so there's some of that. But going back to no, you don't have two Packer Kens, John. That's just
this is where he's got to prove it. I mean, Ben Johnson, we're saying is a proven offensive guy. You know what I mean? So I don't expect things to fly off the map year one. It never flies off the map year one with coaches, rookie coaches.
It has.
But at least by year two, we should see, a common gelling between Ben Johnson and Caleb there.
See, we should have gone with how much he talks about the Packers. He was a secret Packers fan this whole time.
Hey, stolen sports valor.
Hey, I'm now Packer fan. No thanks. No, but
he wants to taste those sports. He wants to taste those Super Bowl trophies.
Isaac, sometimes it does. It happened with Matt Nagy in 2018. It happened with LaFleur. Look, if you have the talent on the team already, you could this year. Ben Johnson with this talent.
I was going to say, actually, the Bears are set up this year to have one of those kind of years. Like offensively, with the talent they have, I would not be surprised if they hit the ground running.
Yeah, but it's not it's not expected right away. You know what I mean? There is talent.
I think if anyone has a chance to do it, the Bears this year have a chance because of the talent they have on offense. If they can put that together, I don't see a reason why they can't be successful year one.
But I agree with what Isaac's saying. He's like, look, we shouldn't expect it.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. And the fans
That's
need
better.
to, and we shouldn't expect them to start the season off like 8-1 or something stupid like that. Like we should expect, but that's the problem with Bears fans. Like they are so hyped right now because we hired Ben Johnson, because of the free agent moves. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple Bears fans who are already getting tattoos of Super Bowl Lombardi trophies on their arms. And like,
I
guys,
thought that was Lions fans.
that
They
was,
should have learned from the Lions fans.
but not everyone's like Broski or Bear Down Mike or Mike the Bear fan or myself or Wood. You know, you get these guys so they see what they're doing and they're like, oh, we're gonna win it all now. I mean, and every fan base has those, but no, I expect the Bears will be. You know, I think once again there's 3 windows to the Bears. If the coaching works out, they could win 10 plus. If the coaching works out and the players don't live up to hype, they can win. I think they're more of an 8 to 9 win team. If the coaching is shitty, 5 to 7 wins.
And here's another thing too about this season. This is one of the most difficult NFC North schedules that we had in a while. We're all playing playoff teams throughout the schedule. So to expect, to be really good off the bat is going to be tough, especially learning a new system. All the players, have to buy into it. You know what I mean? You expect, there is talent around the Bears. There's no doubt about that. And they did sign talent. They signed, offensive line talent. They signed defensive tackle talent. But the thing is, though, this schedule is really rough this year with
A
all
lot
these
more than
teams.
last year, but the thing about that, Isaac, where I'm not looking, I think the Bears. In fact, I'll say this about all the NFC North, because the Bears were even a part of it. The record doesn't really reflect it, but the Bears are part of it. Every NFC North team played every team really good. I mean, everyone had a stinker game too. Like the Bears had a stinker game or two right before the firing. But like you look at the games the Bears played, they were in Washington, Hail Mary at the end. Look at all the games against NFC North teams. They were in every single one of them. The Bears last year, even with crappy coaching, were competitive. That's why Bears fans expect a better team this year, because you got better talent. While you were competitive last year, now you should really be really competitive. And I think all the teams in the North are going to be very competitive. So the schedule doesn't matter as much, because they should fear the North more than we fear them overall. Because I think the North is a better division than anything in the NFC right now as a total, right? The East is good with Philly and Washington, sure. But I think Washington overperformed this year, and they were smart in the offseason and said, okay, we don't want to really show that we overperformed last year. Let's go get some talent. And they did. So they're going to be good, but I think overall the North is a tougher division, and all 4 teams can compete with anyone in this league. In the NFC, I'm not so sure
What team's really going to fill it is the Lions. That away schedule. If you ever looked up the away schedule for the Lions, they face the Chargers, they face the Ravens, they face the Chiefs. It's not going to be easy sledding for them.
So, and if you look at the North, the only thing bad about the North is the Bears have a whole new coaching staff. The Lions have all new coordinators. The only 2 teams that are static in their coaching were what? Minnesota and Green Bay. The only team that was more static in their personnel was who? Green Bay. At major position. So I mean, the Bears are consistent at major. There wasn't a high turnover at major positions, and same for the Lions, player wise, but coaching wise. So the most even keeled team coming into the season really is Green Bay. They had the less turnover. They had the less. So, but you look at Detroit, it's gonna be questionable with them with all new coaches. With the Bears, all new coaches. With Minnesota, the quarterback. Yeah, you still got great coaching, but how good is JJ going to be there? Huge question mark. And then who's his backup going to be if he can't go? So I mean, it all comes down to coaching. I think he'll be fine in Minnesota, though. If he plays, he'll be fine because he's got good coaching. And they proved they were good coaches last year. Look what they did with Darnold. They just got Darnold the bag.
Yeah, that's the real question is if JJ for whatever reason gets hurt, who's their quarterback? It's going to be practice squad Pete.
Be Didn't Nick Mullins fucking leave too? They don't even
That's
have
what I'm
big
saying. They
Nick
don't even have
Mullins
Nick
anymore.
Mullins, dude. Like, what are they gonna do?
Well, I think John Dorn's got his phone numbers on speed dial for him to be their next quarterback.
I
And
mean, unless he doesn't have a job, Rodgers.
He'll continually throw 10 interceptions against Green Bay.
And I did what Ben said to the players: get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's what you have to do, basically. And this is the season to be uncomfortable in because it's really tough. It's a really rough schedule for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Flacco would be an option.
No one's questioning how good JJ may be. They're saying what happens if JJ gets hurt? I think JJ will be fine if he plays, but who's your
Yeah.
backup?
I like the
what
moves.
I saw from JJ in the preseason. Like, I liked what I saw from him. He looked composed for a rookie. He was handling his business like until he got hurt. But the question is, if he gets hurt again,
Right.
you know?
I like the moves the Vikings did too. You know what I mean? They added offensive line, defensive. You know what I mean? They add to defensive line. Like they're going to be pretty good.
Didn't they lose some defensive pieces though?
No, Cameron Bynum, but they could just draft that position. But they did get Hargrove from the Niners. They they added Kelly for their center. So they added some pieces.
I thought they lost Byron Murphy too.
No, they re-signed him.
No, they
they
re-signed
re-signed
him. They re-signed Hitman, so Hitman's back for one more season, and they're still going to be a formidable squad. They brought back Aaron Jones for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing that JJ McCarthy is going to rely on too. Is is Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is a quarterback-friendly running back.
So I think the Vikings should. I think they need to get a bell cow back. Like if it was me, I would use Aaron Jones as my number 2. Like, short spurts, man. Give him 8 to 10 carries a game. Let him catch the ball a little bit, and I would let somebody else handle the bulk of the carries so that you can keep him healthy.
Real quick, a couple of quick updates since we've been on the air. Obviously, we saw in the comments the Raiders released Gardner Minshew with a failed physical designation. I guess he was partying too much. Mason Rudolph has signed with Pittsburgh. He's at least they have 8 quarterbacks signed right now in Mason Rudolph leaving Tennessee. And the Bengals re-signed defensive tackle B.J. Hill to a 3-year, $33 million deal that includes $16 million guaranteed. So the money is still being spent. Those all happened while we were on air today. And I'm sure we're going to see some more throughout the day.
Yeah,
The Titans, I gotta say, the Titans, as much as they suck, their defense that they've been building is going to be formidable, dude.
Dude, they were ranked number 1 in the league through like week 6 or 7 last year.
Yeah, their defense is
they
good.
just added to that defense.
Number 1 defense, and they were like and everyone's like, the Titans, that's like a bye week, but their defense was ranked number 1 for like the first half of the season. Almost like, how the hell are Titans so shitty with the defense that's so damn good?
Yeah,
and then you saw Will Levis play, and you understood.
Yeah, their offensive is just terrible.
You saw Will Levis just chucking the ball up in the air. Like, remember, like he's about to take a sack, and he just throws the ball out. He's like, "Here, take it."
Right? Mail boy.
I saw that. I had the same reaction as John. Like, no MVS in the North. He resigned. Where'd he go? Seattle or someplace like that. He signed a contract.
Yeah, I think it was Seattle.
Yeah, Orlando. I mean, there's a lot of big name receivers out there, older big name receivers who really, for a lot of teams like a Chicago, a Philly, a Minnesota, a Green Bay, even a Detroit, would be more than serviceable and help those teams out. And you figure you don't have to pay them the bag anymore because of the age.
The big names are Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp, and Stephon Diggs.
Well,
I think Kupp wants too much money still. I think that's the reason he doesn't have a team yet. It's because he's still inflating his own value.
Yeah, but that'll come down. I mean,
I think
he'll
a team will bite the bullet for him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams he'd be good for. Now it comes down to, okay, how much cap money do I have? And we see already, we're seeing a lot of this too. We haven't been reporting it, but a lot like the Saints have been reworking contracts left and right. You know, teams are starting to rework contracts to make cap space because, well, they got to have money for the draft. Now, remember, we're at that point now where teams can be over the cap. They just got to be cap compliant by week 1. So now we'll start to see a little bit more freewheeliness with some of these, you know, willingness to maybe go over the cap because they don't have to be cap compliant for week 1. But Kupp, I think his price will come down.
The other issue with Cup is his ankle. Like it needs requires a lot of surgery, and he's not going to be ready for whatever team that signs him.
Speaking of surgery, and the Saints, as a matter of fact, the Saints spent the money on Young, and then it comes out like 2 hours later he has to have neck surgery. Now, look, if they probably knew it beforehand, they obviously knew his medical condition beforehand, probably, but just it doesn't look good when you get the guy a 3-year deal and all got to go have surgery now.
I'm telling you, it was like Homer Simpson when they found out he had a crayon stuck in his brain. Every time the doctor would hold it up, he'd have his thumb over the injured part of the neck and didn't realize it.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm kind of concerned for Stafford too. Like he might go down the Tony Romo route with that neck injury. You know, like one good hit can probably put him out the game.
You know, the only difference is Stafford's going to get in the Hall of Fame based off his numbers. Romo is going to get in based on his commentary.
Right.
Well, even if Stafford doesn't get in by his numbers, you can always just send Kelly over to kind of grease the wheels a little bit.
Orlando. There is a plethora of good wide receivers out there right now that are all going to be.
I would like to see the Raiders take a chance on Diggs, man. Like
I
put Diggs on the same squad with Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. Like,
kind of concerned though. Diggs is a head case. You know
I was going to say I don't know how well Diggs and Geno are going to.
But for 1 year for $9 million, like, and if he doesn't work out, like, you cut him. I mean,
1 year.
He got his jaw broken by a teammate. What do you think Diggs is going to do?
I'm just saying. Like, I think it would be good for the Raiders because Diggs wouldn't be expected to do everything, but he would draw coverage away from Bowers and away from Myers. Like, you know, to me, that's worth $9 million.
As soon as Diggs starts acting up, you see Max Crosby with the cigar. Hey, guy.
Well, look, let's talk about this. Bears are done. I think one of these guys
doesn't jump him in the locker room.
One of these guys ends up on the Bears roster. One of those guys, I will say, I think will end up on Chicago's roster. And Keenan Allen's the natural choice because he already knows the team and his price. Look, with all these guys out there, their prices are starting to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to come down a little bit. And if the price is right, like Joe said, $8, $9, $10 million. You know, I mean, their Spotrac was like around 11 anyways. I think you're going to start seeing these guys, but they're going to sign for $7, $8 million because there's so many of them out there right now. The price is going to start falling. And finally, someone's going to break and take a $6 or $7 million contract, and the rest of them go, thanks, bud. Now we all have to take $6 or $7 million. And that's what's going to happen on that bad last take by me, which probably was a horrendous take. We have to say farewell for the morning. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning. Everyone have a fun day. You know, go see what your teams are doing, and we will be back here tomorrow morning for another edition of Ken and Ken. Have a great one, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for being here today. Oh, by the way.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM Eniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report. Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle.